Thursday afternoon. It's really is. So, first of all, welcome. Thank you for coming. My name is Frank Genzano. I'm the CEO of Pivot Power. I'm also co-lead the Solar team as well. And I was a real estate agent, still am a real estate agent. I've been a real estate agent since 2012. Okay, so what I'm going over today is not idea or theory. It was actually my practice. It's how I built my real estate business, which is really important, right? Because I was able to get predictable, repeatable business month after month, just utilizing this one strategy. Okay, it's called cash on cash return. And what I was doing was I was targeting investors in my center of influence, or cheat code I'm going to give you guys, finding them through social media marketing to find investors to come and work with me as well. So I'm going to give you everything today, but I'm curious, what were you guys hoping to get out of today's talk? Anybody?
How to make money.
How to make money.
Finding good deals on the MLS.
Finding great deals. That's awesome, right? That's exactly why we're here today. Unfortunately, I do have to read this. It's stupid, but I have to. TCPA disclaimer, warning, you must comply with all TCP and any other federal, state, or local laws, including B2B calls and text messages. Never call or send a text message. Sorry. No worries, buddy. Never call or send a text message to a number that's on the BNC list. And do not use any audio dial or artificial voice or pre-recorded messages with consent. Contact your attorney to ensure your compliance and visit connect, blah, 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 for more information. All right, here's why that's important. A couple of our agents previously, about a year ago, got sued for each contact that they sent to a DNC number at the tune of $2,500 per contact. Let's not do that. All right? That's why it's important I read that. Here's who I am. Previously, I was a former insurance executive. What does that mean? It means I was developing insurance programs. I developed 18 different insurance programs for 4 different companies. I still own intellectual property on 2 of them. One of the products was called the Celebrity, which is an umbrella product for high-profile people, politicians, athletes. So I insured every NBA lottery pick from 1999 and 2000. Another product I had was something called the Tent Shield, which was forced place liability insurance on tenants that weren't getting insurance policies, right? So the property managers could protect themselves. So that was my life beforehand. I was traveling a lot back and forth. You're right, buddy? You good? I was traveling back and forth to the West Coast every week. Like every week, I was leaving Monday, getting to LA area, and then coming back on Friday. And that's not kind of how I wanted to live my life. So I started a retail business in insurance, sold my brokerage in 2011. In 2012, I stepped into real estate. And to be honest with you, I kind of sucked at it first. I really did. Like really, really sucked. I had 0 properties sold in my first 6 months. Right. And my wife would tell me, remember when we made a lot of money and now you make $0 a year plus my benefits? That kind of hurt. It really did. But the second half of the year, when I started implementing this, I sold 17 properties for $4.5 million. The second year I got into this, 10 million. I didn't do less than 10 million after that. The great thing about this strategy is not everything was on market. I was doing a lot of off market deals as well. So if you have the opportunity to go and find the property, have a group of investors to pitch this to, it was repeatable business for me from a transactional standpoint. And I was a very present father, husband. I wanted to be the cheer dad. I wanted to be the baseball coach for my son's team. I wanted to go to my daughter's cheer competition, which I'm going to be horrible. They're terrible. But I was there for them, right? So I did work nights and I did work weekends because I was implementing a lot of these strategies. And this was one of the biggest pillars for me. By the end of 2015, I closed 13 investor sides using cash on cash. And then by the end of 2019, my team and I were closing 30 plus rental transactions utilizing this. That's what I mean by repeatable business month after month. All right. cash on cash return, you're getting an investor that you brought value to, and they're going to use you repeatedly, especially to list that property for rental. So let's get into it real quick. This is basically what cash on cash is. In today's evolving real estate market, agents who understand the language of investors are the ones who stand out the most, right? We're seeing a build up with tech and with AI, right? And there's going to be a time where you can start utilizing AI to go find new deals. But until then, what's going to hit the hardest and the most is making that one-on-one connection with somebody and bringing them an opportunity. They're going to be the most loyal to you. Do I have any investor agents here? Agents who work with investors? Jesse, am I wrong? If you bring a deal to that investor, will they help see that transaction through with you?
Yeah, everything you said was 100% correct.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I feel like I'm in a court of law. How you have any investor? Yeah. So it's just the investors I always sucked at were the developers, the builders. And the reason why was I felt as if they weren't going to be loyal to me. And I'm working really hard and diligently to find them deals, bring them deals. As soon as I brought them something, now they're shopping my deal that they just closed with me for the listing side to everybody else. And I didn't really appreciate that. But for here, I felt I'm helping this investor build generational wealth. They could be a first-time investor. They could be a seasoned investor. I'm just giving them a different avenue of how to view a property. And the property that I'm going to use for an example, as of last night, it's on the market. And I'm 4 for 4 on these presentations that whenever I put on a property that was on the market, somebody in the room brought this to one of their investors and closed the transaction. I didn't get any commission. I didn't get a referral deal out of it, by the way. Not even thank you, right? But like, hey, thanks for showing me that. By the way, I didn't close that. I'm going way fast. So cash on cash return is a simple but powerful metric that investors use to measure. Sorry, so the room's full. Measure profitability of a property. If you can show your clients and prospects how to calculate it quickly and find strong investments, you just won't be an agent. You'll become a trusted advisor. Today, we'll show you how to master cash on cash method and use it, the power for lead generating. By the way, I was utilizing this. This was a big part of my morning when I was lead generating. I would lead generate every morning from 9 to 11. There's 2 things I was looking at. Number 1 was this cash on cash, like to break the mind investors. I knew they were going to close quickly, right? And I knew they were going to act on it quickly. So utilize my 9 to 10 o'clock doing cash on cash. From 10 to 11, I'm using predictive analytics. I was trying to find additional listing opportunities while leveraging my buyers to create that for me, my business, right? A little bit of a longer tail, need to be a little more thoughtful when you're having those conversations. It's not as black and white as numbers for investors, but it feels more with emotion, and I needed time to build up to have that conversation, okay? So what is cash on cash return? That is the formula right there. It is measured investors' annual return on actual cash invested, not the property's full price, but an annual pre-tax cash flow divided by total cash invested, unlike cap rate or ROI. Cash focuses on cash income only. People that utilize cap rate, God bless you, right? It could be anything. I truly believe a cap rate is whatever that person truly kind of wants it to be based off of a little bit of information. What you're going to see here is actual cost to acquire the property. So I want you to think of it that way. How much does it cost my investor or me to acquire that property, total out-of-pocket cost? And then taking the spread of rent collected to my mortgage, dividing it by that number, it's going to give you a percent. Okay? So, and how I would always talk to my investors where if you take this $50,000 and you put it in your savings account, then you guarantee a 10% return on that. How many people know the savings is not 10% right now? Exactly. How about the stock market? If you take that 50, right, but you also could lose your ass in the stock market, right? You can invest that $50,000 unless you're Nancy Pelosi, you'll get 100,000% return on it. It's not a political thing, it's just factual. She does great in the stock market. But you can put $50,000 in the stock market and hope to get a 10% return. You can get a 20% return as well. However, if I could show a client how to get a 10% return on brick and mortar, and not, by the way, in Pennsylvania, especially Philadelphia, in Philadelphia, since 1895, there is a 4% increase in property value year on year. Okay, but that's not included in this formula. So it is cost to acquire divided by the spread between the mortgage and rent. You divide those two numbers and you get a percentage. And if that percentage is 5%, well, I don't feel great about that. If it's 10%, I feel really good. So I always use 10% as the minimum for me. Now, it could also be neighborhood specific. I would take 5% in Rittenhouse, right? All day. I would take 5% in Fairmount. I would take 5% in Queen Village. Probably not going to take 5% in South Philly. Probably not going to take 5% in Northwest Philadelphia. So it is property dependent. And even in Northeast, I probably wouldn't take 5%. But I would take 10. I would advise my clients on, hey, if you are comfortable with this risk, then let's look at 10% return. Any questions on this, by the way? Oh, let me go back. Any questions on this? No? So total cost to acquire divided by the spread between the mortgage and the rent collected. You take that, divide that by the number, that's the number you're going to get. And again, I have a real property in here right now that we can go. Also, a little cheat code as well. A lot of my investors were Section 8 landlords. Anybody want to guess why?
Security.
Security. Why is it secure?
Because nobody's going to give up on their $300 rent.
Or fully paid rent.
Yeah.
So it's either partially paid or fully paid, and it's guaranteed unless there's not a government shutdown, right? So
2-year lease and other things.
2-year leases, right? So yeah, so we're going to look at those numbers as well. Market rent is slightly less, but you want to educate your buyer, your investor, the advisor on what's the best course of action for their investment, right? Allow them to make a decision.
Would that number change if you're doing 5-year leases like Head Starts or Eldercare?
Great question. Yeah, the number should never change from year one. That's always going to be your base. Because how you are calculating the number right now is today's number. Because we know we can go and get this rent, and we know this is going to be our mortgage once it closes. And you just take that number, the difference between it, divided by the cost to acquire, and then you're going to get your rate. So it should only go up. And by the way, is anybody on no ops trust team here? I say no all the time. The first time I did this was with Noah's best friend. Noah's one of the owners of the company. He's got a very large team here. And I brought this opportunity to somebody I was familiar with. We had a friendship with. And I brought him this opportunity. He said, Frank, this is a really good deal. And I said, Dustin, tell me why you think it's a good deal. He goes, this is going to allow me to pay for my kids' college. And then once they're in college, I want to liquidate them and get that money back. And I want to focus on more long-term investments. I'm like, well, no better long-term investment than real estate, but you do you. Okay. So right now, I literally have one of his properties up for sale. It's his oldest son, Tyler, is first year up now. So he's getting ready to start selling his portfolio. Okay. Why investors love this? Highlights upfront cash invested and immediate returns, makes it easier to compare options and finance deals. 67% of small investors prioritize cash on cash when deciding, according to Bigger Pockets in 2024. Again, that's who you're dealing with. We're not dealing with large conglomerates. We're dealing with people like us that are in this room every day that want to learn how to invest. You're educating them on the investment process. You're probably, if they're going to do Section 8, I would spend some time and understand that process as well. Okay, cool. Here's the property. Anybody know this property? Anybody go look at this? It is 2348 Wilder Street. Mitchell Cohen, this is Mitchell Cohen's listing right now. He just did a reduction from 199 to 194. Who thinks he'll take another reduction? Right. So, but we're only going to utilize the 194 right now. Okay. So it is a 2-bed, very important, 1 bath. The other thing that's really important that this property is turnkey right now, meaning you could bring your investor right in there, change the locks, and put it up for rent. Now, if there was a cost of renovation, you're adding that to the cost to acquire. You guys got that? But we're dealing with something turnkey right now. Cool? Go to the next slide. All right, so here is a transaction summary. We're putting 20% down. We're acquiring it for $194,000, right? Needed to purchase $50,696. We're not going to deal with the expense on it. Okay. So total cost to acquire is $50,696. My estimated monthly mortgage payment is $1,226. It may fluctuate because I put my homeowners in as $100 a month, $1,200 for a dwelling fire policies. Reasonable right now with about $300,000 liability. You guys understand the liability portion of the property? All right, can I stop? Can I pause this real quick and can we talk about that? How important that is? So the liability policy on your properties, okay, protects you in the event that you or your property does damage to someone or someone else's property. So a lot of these are row homes, correct? Do these row homes catch fire? Right. So there's going to be smoke and water damage to your 2 neighbors. So good. If you're advising your clients and they're getting their homeowner's insurance quote and they're only carrying $100,000 of liability, you may want to advise them to bump that up. And here's a really good calculator for that. If they're buying a property for $250,000, it's probably smart for them to double the cost to acquire that property for liability on both sides. And then once they start building a portfolio, then tell them to get an umbrella policy. That's a different class that we'll talk about, but I just wanted to stop and talk about that. Because if you don't get anything else from this, you don't utilize this, we're all going to sell homes every day, right? Or a few times a year, 5, 10, 15 times a year. Talk to them about their insurance policy. You become a trusted advisor, right? Just giving that little tip. Cool. Any questions up to that part? That part?
I got a question.
Sure.
That's still the regular like homeowner's insurance, or is that?
Yeah, that's homeowners insurance as well as policies for this. There's 2 types of policies. There's homeowners policy, right? That if you are a primary user of that home, or there's a dwelling fire policy, if it's an investment property. All right, so we're good here. Cost to acquire $50,000. The estimated mortgage payment $1,226.
Yeah, 19146, great zip code.
Great zip code. Why is that, Jess?
Because it's classified as, what is it, high repair on.
It's a Group 3 classification 19146.
2300.
2350.
We gotta use,
I would take
that's,
80%.
that sheet is out of date.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did it just go out of date?
Yeah.
So
All right.
they-
So is it higher? Lower? Oh, good. I got the new rate on there. I calculated 2200.
Is that 100% we're gonna give you?
100%. Well, regardless, your goal is to get 2200 from City of Philadelphia. Right.
I usually calculate 80% with some of my Section 8 guys. That's where
If the property is clean
that's
and
the-
well done, yes, you'll max out, but.
Yeah,
But that's why we want
this is not.
turnkey. Right. If you guys go look at the pictures of this property's absolutely beautiful. It really is. It's turnkey. All right. So Group 3, hold on 1 second. Group 3, 19146, 2-bed, 2350. I calculated 2200. Okay. And
When using these city resources as a guideline, when does our advice end and their responsibility as far as like what they can?
that's up to them, right? The only thing you can do is give them the information, right? And then educate them, be a valuable resource, and allow them to make that decision. Can't make the decisions for them. If you are, then let's just go buy property together.
A lot of times they ask you, it's like, so I can get this for this, and it's like
Based off of our experience and this, You know, I've been talking to other realtors, you can get anywhere between 8%. If it's turnkey, it's really nice. It's not a rundown, doesn't look like it's cared for. You're not going to get that. But if it is, that's why we're buying turnkey properties, because we have to present it. Okay. I got this right off of the phila.gov website. Yes. Absolutely. This one right here. All right.
Section 8, also important to know, don't believe in our step 1.
Correct.
It has to be in the,
Has to be approved.
has to be
Approved.
In a week, but they can do it. So they might give you less money if they.
Sorry, I meant to say you can't charge a flat fee, you have to charge them once the actual billing is. I think every property. That's right. But on the same time, yeah, it's not necessarily that understandable.
Or how many properties you have each? What is kind of
Like right now, I have about 9 with PHA.
I have a potential property that's on the street.
Alright, well, that's in place. Here's a calculation. Again, cost to acquire, mortgage payment, the rent from section 8, I put 2,200. You said it was 2,350. It's probably a little bit lower than that right now. So your positive cash flow is $974. I want you guys to multiply that by 12. So the total cash flow for the year on that property, we're not doing vacancy rate, right, is $11,668. My math good? You guys want to math it out together? Cool. Anybody want to try and do the math? I have the percentage on the next slide. Now, I'll make it worth your while. How much cash I have in my pocket right now? I got 250s. I got 250s. I have a 5. We'll go 50. All right. I'll go $50. First person that tells me what is the right percentage of cash on cash return.
23%. We gotta say 1, 2, 3, go.
Wow. Really, this is a problem.
How's that?
23%. So right now, today, you can start calling people in your database, right, and say, I have the opportunity to make you 20% cash on cash return right now on the property that's on the market. So I'm going to go back real quick. Cost to acquire $50,696. Mortgage payments $1,226. Rent $2,200. Cash flow per month is $11,688. 23% cash on cash. Now it could be higher, could be lower, could be higher, right?
4.6 now, group 4, and 23.30.
2330.
What's the update?
2330.
Group 19146 and 4, 2330. 19146.
Yep. I'm surprised you're still sitting down and you're not on the phone. So it's really a simple script conversation that you're having, right? Yeah. Really good. Wait till he's got a deal with Mitchell Cohen, by the way, which is awesome. My first deal ever, I'm being dead serious, was with Mitchell. It was for $29,900. It was for a duplex in West Philly on Master Street, 5900 block of Master Street. I still haven't had a conversation with him. We still never spoke. Think about how bizarre that is. You never talk to a listing agent in a transaction. So, not a thank you for the deal. You know, this is when we're settling. Nothing at all. Didn't show up for settlement, obviously. But this is a great way for you to start having this conversation. I specialize in helping clients finding properties that can cash flow and can earn double-digit returns. Would you be interested in seeing if you have opportunities? Well, what opportunity do you have? Oh, funny you should say that. I have 2348 Wilder Street, 19146. I think it would make sense for us to spend 30, 45 minutes investing time in each other so I could show you how to do this and showing you the right way to go about acquiring this and renting it out. You want to grab coffee tomorrow? You want to come to my office today? Social media, and I'm going to give you a better script in this on social media because that is the secret. That's going to be the best takeaway is going out and finding these investors if you don't currently have them. And we could utilize our social media. It looks like everybody in here is with Keller Williams through Command. I don't think you guys realize this. You have special pricing through Meta for running your ads on Facebook and Instagram. It's actually like a deep discount, almost like 8% less than if you're running that on your own.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
They will,
It is 80% less
the first one.
to run it through Command because we have preferred partnership with Meta than if you're running it on your own. If you're running it on your own, you would go through facebook.business.com. You go through us, you just go right through your Command website. Okay. And the secret to that is you run a $50 campaign on 10 days. You split it through 2 channels, Instagram and Facebook. And I'm going to give you the keywords to go and find this investment. By the way, you can also do it for your buyers and sellers. Right. But we're going to talk about cash on cash here. Any questions on these scripts? If I was sitting in open house, I'm talking about like day one, I get fired. I'm no longer the CEO of the company. I'm a real estate agent. I'm sitting open houses that fit this model. And everybody that walks through there, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm now door knocking with everybody as well in the neighborhood, personally inviting them to my open house and talking about this. And then I'm running a social media ad campaign. Then I'm calling my investors because I need to get a transaction this week. I need to focus on getting 1 transaction per week. And this is the best way to do it. Did this cost us anything? Maybe $50. Cost me $50 today. And this is how I would focus and spend my time. So day one, I'm no longer CEO of the company. I'm back to being a real estate agent, which I love to do. I love being a real estate agent. It's one of my favorite things I ever was. It's outside of being a dad and a husband and a son and a cousin. I love being a real estate agent because I could create generational wealth and focus helping my clients get to their goals. And this is how I would spend day one. Is I would sit in an open house that's really good cash on cash return, and I am going to try and sell that property. Everyone else that sits open houses, not saying it's right or wrong, they're trying to get clients to sell other houses. Maybe sometimes that house. I want to sell that house. And that would be like step 1 for me is right now, go upstairs, call Mitchell, call somebody in your brokerage. Hey, I want to see your open house. Here's my marketing strategy. Are you okay with it? Here's your 1-page flyer. So now, if this wasn't my listing, I would call the listing agent, ask permission to promote it, and promote it in this way. So this is the worksheet, the 1-page sampler flyer that I would put out on social media as well. I would put the address, I would put the purchase price, estimated rent, cost to acquire, monthly cash flow, cash on cash return, and then adding these little verbiage. And so I don't know why social media loves these little emojis, Andrew. Why do they like it so much? Why does it draw so much attention?
Yeah, you can train ChatGPT how to.
Okay.
You can say no emojis, no long dash, and basic.
It's a Wall Street Bets thing, I think. For real.
Jared?
I was gonna say, so as far as psychology and coaching, we use emojis to help you better communicate with people. So that's what
They're like hieroglyphs.
Surprised there's no rocket instead of the graph.
What's that, buddy?
Surprised there's no rocket instead of the graph, the upward graph line.
Right here, right the man, rocket. I think it's used for something else. Yeah. So that's the format, the text format. Conclusion, mastering this method will help you dominate your market, especially in your area. Okay. It also helps give you an additional discipline in your business where you become an expert. Think about how many times you've been out socially, somebody asks you about real estate, they usually say 1 or 2 things. How's the market? By the way, you should respond to that. It all depends on who you are. me about your situation, get them to talk more. Or they're going to ask you, where should I be investing right now? Why don't you say that? That's great property at 2348 Golden Street. I just found out about it today. I could show you how to get a 20% return on your investment. What does that mean? I'd love to spend more time with you, especially not right now when I'm having bourbon in my hand and, you know, I'm out socially, but let's get some time together this week and let me show this to you and let's help build a portfolio. Do you ever think about investing? Ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more information people are going to give. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, people love to talk about themselves. It's their favorite topic, is themselves. All right, here's your Facebook ad that you can run. Always ask for a call to action in the end. Now, how are you running this Facebook ad? Are you running on your personal page or your business page? Is it personal? Okay. Okay. Might get okay engagement, but on your personal page, you might not have somebody that's looking for this right now. If you run it through a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, those people are Googling. What's another search engine now? Atlas, ChatGPT. They're going on and looking for investment opportunities, real estate investing, real estate investing in Philadelphia, real estate in Philadelphia. So the reason why you put your ad out on Facebook or Instagram is because now that ad is going to find all those people that are utilizing those search words. So every time they go on social media, they're going to see your ad. Who's recently bought something online lately? Bought a car. I was researching a car. And I just kept getting, every time I went on Facebook or Instagram, I was getting buried with ads for that car brand. Because it saw my search engine history. And then it was a trigger for them to target me as a buyer. Same thing for you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna like there's like 7 home. I said yeah, I'll sell one.
I love that. So, quick on that as well. Investors, male or female, doesn't matter. Okay, it truly doesn't matter. You have male investors, you have female investors. However, in a primary home, who is the main decision maker? Who buys it? Husband or wife? Say it louder for people in the back. Wife. Where are women aged 25 to 49 hanging out on social media? Instagram. And women in that demographic buy off of swipe up stories. So you could target your distribution for swipe up stories and newsfeed Facebook ads for old guys like me. Okay. Investors, doesn't matter. You run $50 on Facebook, $50 on Instagram, it will find them. Right? But I would utilize this as well. I would utilize this wording, but then I want you guys to utilize these keywords because when you run your ad on Meta and Facebook, it's going to ask you, who do you want to target? 100% real estate investing, investment properties, real estate investors, landlord, property managers, multifamily residential, house flipping, real estate development, real estate entrepreneur, commercial real estate, passive income, cash flow business. I'm going to give you 2 more, and I don't put them on my slides for a reason because I don't want to give them any more business. Realtor.com and Zillow. Anybody's going on those 2 websites, and they're also looking at these things, when they go on Facebook or Instagram, they're going to see your ad. This is for anybody you don't have in your parent center of influence right now that you need to build an investor book on. Also recommended targeting audience, Philadelphia investor targeting, Philadelphia 30 plus miles vicinity, ages 25 to 65. You guys agree or disagree with that age bracket?
Agree.
Yeah. Why would somebody a little bit older, like my age, want to invest in cash on cash return? And Mike, why do you think?
It's going to college.
Kids going to college, or eventually going to need some additional passive income, right? So there's no age discrimination here. 18 to 25, I just haven't seen many buy and hold investors right now. It's not sexy. Buy and hold aren't sexy. Flips are. Big development deals are, but it's just not a sexy demographic for somebody that's not 25 years old yet or something. Not Caleb. Caleb's gonna go out. Second property sheet 1.5 is gonna be a cash on cash. All right. I went backwards. Questions, answers? I went pretty fast. I can go back and repeat anything. It took about 40 minutes. Class is an hour. So I'm here for you. What questions do you have? What concerns? You want to call bullshit? I'm here for it. I'm ready for all the smoke. I really am. But this worked for me. And it should work for you. No.
So, I say for the mortgage installment process, are you just using a simple mortgage calculator, or are you consulting with a mortgage lender to say, hey, can we get a possibly lower rate to this property?
So I calculated this through the MLS, knowing what the rate was for a $7 million. Okay. But if you click the B number sign, it will allow you to come up with these numbers as well on Bright MLS.
And it's split at bottom?
It's top.
Okay. And it's a B?
B with the number sign. B month sign. Yeah. You click on that, you type, sometimes if you're not on the property, you can type in property address. Everything will preload for you, which is like the taxes, and it will do all the prorated amounts for you as well.
Even 1% will be good. Anything else on that?
Yes. Talk to your lender. Correct. Talk to your lender. Your lender will literally give you all the information immediately. When I was doing this, I was calling almost my lenders once a week, asking about what rates were, did anything change, any programs available for investors. What does the scenario look like?
20% down, use 7, 7.5. 25 to 30% down, you use 5, 6.
5 sixes. Cool.
Can you fund an LLC by or no?
Yeah.
Another one?
Yeah.
So some,
Put in your
They
own-
should all be doing this in LLCs.
Yeah, you can do this as a DSO.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, but they'll probably use a lower percentage of the estimate.
Correct.
well, that's what I mean, so if you're buying an LLC, the one thing versus putting it under your own name, so.
If there's a multi-unit, can you use some of the income from
To qualify? No.
This is the primary.
Oh, if it's a primary, yeah, but not.
If it was your primary,
Your
if
primary.
your house hacking.
If your house, yeah, but on an investment like this, then.
You're saying you think on whole count?
Unless it's under that.
Well, at least if you're buying a property, it's on your tax return, you can bought it yet. So if you're buying a property and you have to lease it, that lease income will count towards your debt covered for the fuel stuff.
Yeah, but you can't have that for
What questions do you have?
That question for you, Frank. The 23% seems good on the surface, not factoring vacancy, not factoring in maintenance costs, not factoring hiring, that's needed to find. Doing, so what's your threshold, right? Are you taking out 5% for vacancy, 5% for maintenance?
Yeah.
And what's that, like, if it's not the 15% or above, I'm passing on it.
So if it's not above 10%, I'm not interested, right? So at 22%, right, knowing all those factors, vacancy, payment for agent, right, for the first month, obviously, usually around 5 to 7%, depending on the property. Yeah. And I'm buying in areas that I know that I'm going to be able to rent that quickly. That's just going to be able to rent that quickly, and I can leverage and section in.
So people never take that for
The first year. Right. So if that's a 10% and I'm down to 5, I'm out. My investors are out.
So does this marketing strategy change based on time of year? So if you're out of the rental cycle and you're pitching a vacant property, are you not doubling down as hard because it may take longer to rent it out?
I won't go down. All right, ever. For this renter, there's always a market. There's always Section 8. And I know I'm either getting guaranteed all my money or partially. Now, if I'm going to market, to the retail market, then the answer is yes. This is probably not something I'm buying now in November, December, January. Right after the Super Bowl. What's that like?
And great.
And well, hopefully for another one. I missed this parade. What's that?
I got a question.
Sure. Yes, I am.
So you had the one slide with the strips
Mm-hmm.
and, well, like social media posts and the cold call and section?
Yeah.
So you have to get that approved by the listing agent where you.
If it's not your property, yes. Do I have? Well, if you're going to put it on Facebook, right? If you're going to advertise their listing on Facebook, you have to get permission.
Right, whether it's an ad or not.
But if you're making a phone call to somebody and you're pitching property, no, not at all. Always, yeah. And here's what you might do that, you're building collaboration, you're building a relationship for listing agent, right? He sees that you're hustling, or she sees that you're hustling, right? They really appreciate that. I haven't heard of a listing agent say, hey, look, how are you gonna market my property? What is your end goal, right? And you give them that, and they say, no, don't go out. How dare you try to market my property to get it sold? Listings are money in the bank. They want it sold. But how you go about it, how you present it, truly matters.
No permission, you need to be like, text.
Always. Yeah, no, not word of mouth. CYA, cover your ass. Any other questions, guys?
You analyze this the same way, but wasn't the.
I analyze it differently. Yeah, at market, I'm still at a 10% threshold. And
I don't think you have clerk for
I think you're for 19146 right now. You're around 250. Yeah, a little bit less. Yeah, so even at 1900, not major, 1900 times 12 is 650. That's right. 1226. Yeah. So getting 1900. So what is that? 650. 650 times 12 is.
So it's a little different.
Yeah.
The market rate rent should determine way more on per block area. Like that area, the reason why Section 8.1, I didn't ever really do Section 8 until the interest rate jumped up. They were like really the only properties these guys jump on because they go into areas like this with a higher interest rate and actually cash flow. And point three is like these, especially there's like 7 or 8 houses that are all like $200,000 or below that are 2-bedroom and up. Some are like really shitty, and then some are like kind of rent ready. But per block, like that's the vacancy rate's going to shoot up with rent. And people are going to come in and say you want $1,800 for that, but they're going to walk around and they really want to break $200. So it's going to be a lot different. Section 8 versus that, and the buyer. I have investors that won't touch Section 8 with a 10-foot pole because you also have to incorporate after the 2 years. What does that property look like? You have to, you know what I mean? You know, if you have to do a $25,000 rehab or a $20K rehab after 2 years, that's another $10K or so, and your total cost. So it's some real estate or some investors really like it, some don't. But cash on cash, when I started switching over to cash on cash, is you said 67% value.
Yes.
It's 80%, not 80%. And the big guys too. The
Really?
big guys. Oh yeah. Yeah, like the big deals, cash on cash will look that immediately. And then, like you were saying, it's the location of it's always going to add value depending on what it is. That'll determine vacancy rate, your ability to raise rents over a period of time. Is what I learned. But cash on cash is a very big proponent in me sending out a performer. Like all my performers have it on there now. It's built in. I cover everything: cap rate, cash on cash, cash flow, and all of it's combined. But cash on cash is like my go-to now for like, is this a decent deal? And at what price? So like I get people to make offers, not because of the list price. I get people to make offers because I see value around, and then I calculate it on a cash on cash basis and go, this would be a good deal. You should make an offer on it at this number. But cash on cash, I always call it, like I used cap rates for forever in school. And it's not
right.
It gives you an idea.
There's so many variables to the cap rate.
Yeah, exactly. So cash on cash is my go-to to get an idea, or it's like that's how I pass the sniff test. It's like, okay, all right, I'm interested, and then I dive deeper to it.
So 15% at market. So am I buying that? Yeah, because even at that 5 to 6%, I'm still within range. Properties in decent shape. Probably
That's all relative, yeah.
It's all
Some guys
relative,
love it,
right?
Some, you know.
But if you're an absentee landlord, guess what's gonna happen? If you're talking to them once a month, once a quarter, they know that you care about the property, they're most likely gonna care about it as well.
Yeah.
About the rentals, you know that. They're fine with it.
Even talks, so some of the tenants have advocacy groups that place them in section eight, right? Is there relationship, like, you, based on what group is trying to place them in section eight, is there a way to kind of like, okay, we're not section.
What my experience for Section 8 stuff.
Like a Verizon house.
Section 8 is not
also, I've worked with them through.
platform. I mean, they have
Right.
like veteran programs, they have recovery programs.
Yeah,
they
like
have
Horizon House, stuff like that. There's
youth
other,
programs, there's.
I use that to rent out the entire building.
Okay, well, they had like a certain mental health tier. You
Yeah,
kind of
it's
try to
really
like,
help, it's
assume
guaranteed
maybe
income, it's more
less
safe.
wear and tear on your place, it's less.
Location is big on Section 8. People don't like, I have guys that have Section 8 properties and say that it's like Temple area, not close to it, but they're struggling. Because, and then that's when I learned, like, they get vouchers, so they'll call you, and that's usually the first thing they'll say, is, does your landlord accept vouchers? Is usually what I hear. But they wanna take that voucher and go to the nicest place possible. So anything in a good area with Section 8 is, it'll be like this, but if you're in a, a non-desirable area, then you can also struggle with getting Section 8 as well. Because people don't want to, with it.
So, by the way, just want to let you guys know, I found that property in 8 minutes. 10 minutes before the Eagles game last night. And I was able to find it, copy and paste the description, do all the calculations, and had my laptop shut for the Eagles game. Even though I have YouTube TV.
Next question, so what do their search look like? Will you pinpoint like in the South Philly or?
I'm looking in.
Zip code, measure Grafton County, or back.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all, that's what I said, is like 8 or 7 homes on market with, you're doing Section 8, that's how you search, go to zip code, then you go bedroom count.
I'm looking group 3, group 4.
Yeah.
Primarily. Right? Bedroom count, more bedrooms, more money, obviously. I'm also looking for a condition of property. I want something turnkey. Because I want to be able to control the acquisition, right? The cost of acquisition. Because if you're doing renovation, you're including that in your cost of right? So if it's a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 renovation, now you're actually including that. So, and you don't have any control over that, right? The contractor, when he shows up, how he shows up. If the guy that's deadbeat and is not showing up, and now you have all this money out on the street, then meaning the investor, then they feel some type of way towards you, right? I want this to be as easy as possible. Unless they have their own team and they can do that renovation and make sense for them, they can buy something a little cheaper and put rental grade in, great. But this property, actually, very decent property. If you guys haven't looked at the pictures, it's really nice.
And this is for people who are not using.
Could be for, yeah, it's one or two ways. If you're going Section 8, you know it's going to be around over 20%. You're going to market, retail market, it's going to be market. And just run the comps on 2 bedrooms into the properties in that condition within 0.1 miles of it. You'll be able to find really the comps there for when you're running.
Some of the times, I do a lot of off-market stuff, like what you were saying, like earlier, like I love that. But sometimes when I want to find deals, like on market doesn't mean bad, it's just either price or something up or whatever. So like, for example, when I rent upstairs, I took all those 7 properties, put them into it, and then what I'll do later is I'll put them into a forma to make them good, like where I think they're nice, and then I send it out without even worrying about the listing price. Like, hey, here's where it makes sense. I'll do that with any property, so anything. The guys that are literally buy, and then that's how I draw. Because someone else did the work to put it on the market, so they found the seller who wants to sell. Whether they're actually motivated, not crazy or whatever, that's on them. But what I can do, and then I take it and I basically number basis, like here's where it actually makes sense based on the cash flow cash return from what I can do, and then I take that list and then I send that out with the formula and say here's where it actually makes sense, and then you can trick them And she's like, oh, would you buy a deal that is 20% cash on cash return, blah, 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 in this area? Well, yeah, I'm saying, oh, cool, here's one. And then it's like, at this number, so you wanna make an offer?
And that's the ultimate goal.
And then you'll be like, oh, cool, I'll put out, like, I've done 10 offers, 8 offers, 7 offers, and where do we need one? You know what I mean? So it's a good way to draw some business up too. And I love, like, I work predominantly with investors. So it's a very good way for me to use it as a follow-up or a touch that I can physically kind of bring some value to them. And then I find out when I do that, and this goes all the way up to the big boy stuff. Anything, you can do this with 10 million, it's commercial, more expensive, whatever it may be. I use properties on market all the time to talk to somebody who's in the market to buy, or to find out where they are in their market, but I'll talk to them a little bit. And I find listings that way. Oh, so Frank, yeah, it's like
he's trying to find the people I've been coming across lately. They're so everybody wants like value. I don't know what to say. I want to
value add.
yeah.
So the reason that is when the rates bumped up in 2022, my business or investor business shut down. It was like a door hit you. It's like, because all of a sudden now none of the deals make sense. And it's so black and white. There's no emotion behind it. So all of a sudden it goes to shit. But the value add part of it, they call it the juice. The reason why they want to add value, why there's value add multifamily is my number one focus, and it's been that way for over a year and a half. And the reason is because they can build value into the property. So they buy it at the right price, not too much, and then they calculate how much it's going to cost to fix it up to get wherever rents they want to be, and then that's where, and then generally they can refi out of that later or take a different type of loan, but like that's pretty much every deal I've done this year, value add. That's what they want, because they need, it's too expensive to buy the new product. With new construction multifamilies that go up, I don't even look at them sometimes, because it doesn't make sense. There's no juice, they don't make any money. Only like institutional money or the big boys who don't care about seeing a return for 50 years will buy stuff like that. But the average guy, the guy that's buying, say, 5 units to 15 units or something like that, they need value add to make for the deal to actually make sense. And I was taught this by good clients of mine. Like they've run me through this. Guys are way more experienced than me, and I'll never be that way. They're the ones teaching me. This is why I look for this. Yeah, there's specific buy boxes. I just found for a prospecting source, like I stopped looking at development. So it's too hard, it's too expensive per door going up. And I was like, fuck it, let's just look at what actually sells. What can I sell the best? What's easier value add? So I look for any new value add. Yeah, for multifamily stuff.
Any other questions, guys?
No, it's good.
By the way, Jesse's going to teach this class next time. Love it. I love that. So thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, it means so much to me that you guys invest this 1 hour with me. So
Thanks, Frank.